Good morning, cubies and newbies. Oops, got dust on my. Hi, good morning, cubies and newbies. I am Sunshine, and I like the Rubik's Cube. More precisely, I am the creator of the ABCube method for solving Rubik's Cubes. This is Formula A, this is Formula B, and that's all you need to solve every Rubik's Cube that you can get your hands on, including every n by n cube, as long as it's a cube, as long as it's in fact, there's a adaptation that will let you solve this one as well. This is the Whittington 3x3x9, but again, no memorizing parodies. This is Formula A, this is Formula B. There are mathematical zero, where there's a left, there's a right, where there's an up, there's a down. It only moves the pieces you want to move. So with them, you can solve everything, every formula Rubik's Cube. This is a new method. I created it and I published it on speedsolving.com in 2020. It is not a speed solving, it's not a speed solution per se, but it is the simplest one, the simplest breakdown to be able to solve the Rubik's Cube. When I teach this Rubik's Cube in real life, it takes me between an hour and a half to 2 hours actual teach time, usually broken down over two 1-hour sessions, and they walk away ready to solve any Rubik's Cube that they get their hand on. I don't make them learn the standardized notation. I don't make them learn that this is the top front right position, and so this is the top front right cube, but it's the only cube that can go in the top front right position. And I don't teach them that R is the parallel of L minus. I don't teach them any of that. I just say, if you want to move a piece to the top, Formula A will do it. If you want to move 3 pieces around, Formula B will do it. So, and then I just so they're getting comfortable with the two formulas, and I do a quick walkthrough of how the cube dictates which the columns are that you're going to use when you use Formula B or Formula A. If you're working on, so you pick a cube. All you do is you pick a cube that's wrong, and you hold the cube so that piece wants to go up to the top. Here, quick example. Here's a blue piece right here. It wants to go to the top, so I hold blue to the top, and I'm going to move it. I'm moving pieces around. After I got the corners and the center done, A drops off. You don't need A anymore, and so everything else is done with B. So here's a piece. It's incorrect. I want to move it to the top, so it's going to land right in this spot right here, which right now, that's something that wants to be there, so I leave it there. I turn it around. There's something that can come down. There's something that can come down, and there's something that come down. So of these 3, I'm gonna select the green one because green is opposite blue. So this piece is going to land up here, and this piece is going to be displaced by this piece right here. This piece isn't going to land here, but we don't care about that. All we know is this cube is going up here, and we know that it's moving 2 pieces because the one that they've chosen and where it's going to land, and the third piece will take care of itself. So the first horizontal move in B is to line it up. The second move, since this is the cube that I'm moving, I move this column up and up. I rotate the top so that this piece comes into a second column, and that second column is my second up. So I've split reverse. Every other horizontal move is the reverse of the previous horizontal move, and so since my edges, I can talk. I can use words. I know words. I just don't use them very well. Reverse, and to set the rest of the cube back, and this piece moved up. And this piece was not the green that I tried to move down. That landed over here, so this piece moved there. You don't have to know what 3 pieces are moving around. You just have to pick 3 pieces. Pick a piece, any piece. Right now, today we're doing edges, centers. I know words, I just can't use them properly. Today we're doing centers because we already did the corners, which solved that cube, and the edges, which solved that cube. And set up everything else for what colors each side is going to be. So again, pick a cube that's wrong. Any cube that's wrong. Here's a yellow. Does not belong here. Move it so that it wants to be face up. Well, yellow is 2 moves away. I can do that, or I can do it 2 moves at a time. So I'm going to, I see a white here that I want to bring down. So I'm going to line this up so that this cube is going to interact with this cube. So the white was kind of come down. This white is going to come down, but it's not going to land here. It's going to land somewhere else. So I care only about this cube, this yellow cube, and placing it somewhere that it's okay to bring down. So that's my first horizontal top, was the setup. This is my first column going up. I slide the top so that it ends up in a different column. If I go this way, it's the same column, so that does not count. So I slide the top to put it into a different column. Now this is my second column up. I reverse to bring down and down. And again, this yellow did go up here, there, and the white did come down, but not where I thought it was going to be. It's this to demonstrate that this formula B always moves 3 pieces around, because there's always 3 or more pieces to move around. Pick another piece that's okay. Let's follow this yellow around. Okay, this yellow is wrong. I bring it so that it's going to go to the top. So I bring the yellow side to the top. Right now, as it lands, it's going to land here. Blue is a good one to come down since I'm working with blue. So I've lined it up. First up, slide the column. Second up, reverse. First down, second down. Set the top and keep going. Here's another yellow. Wants to go to the top. I can bring down. White's the most advantageous to bring down. You'll get those as the more you understand the cube, the more it'll be easier to pick which piece to come to displace. But this piece goes up, move it to a different column, and it goes up again, which is to the back. But I'm only looking at the front as if it were rows and columns. Reverse, and my columns go down and down. So there's a slide, there's a horizontal to displace it, and I just displace my camera. There we go. Okay, so that is how you do the centers. Now other people do centers first, and they've got their own algorithms to do that. But these are all done the exact same way, so you don't have to memorize 300 to 800 algorithms in order to master the cube. This is, like I said, this is not for speed. This is not for speed, because it's certainly not the shortest moves, because those two are closely related. But we've broken it all down. You can take a picture. I can put this on a keychain. You can take a picture of it on your phone, and once you've learned this method, that's all you need to solve, like I said, any cube. So let's see who's out there today. Romper, bumper, stumper, boo. Good morning, you guys. All right, so yesterday I talked about how I got confused about a cube that I duplicated and then somehow couldn't duplicate again. And something with my confusion was that I was getting confused about twisted versus parodies. So I spent yesterday duplicating some parodies so that I could talk about parodies. These centers, to solve the rest of them, it's just lather, rinse, repeat, more of the same. I will do this one. I intended to do this one as well, but I want to talk about parodies. A parody is where it looks like you've got 2 pieces that are in the wrong place. For example, this blue and white piece needs to be where this blue and red piece is, and vice versa. Okay, now I just told you formula B works on 3 pieces. Well, so this would be considered a parody, and then you'd be given a horrible algorithm to memorize, to solve your parities, and you'd be given a different algorithm depending on what your parity looked like, whether your parity looked like that, or whether your parity looked like that, or whether your parity looked like that, or whether your parity looked like that. It doesn't matter. Either way, there's two pieces that want to move into the other piece. Two pieces. I put two parities on each cube just to demonstrate, because two parities counter each other out. If you have two parities on the cube, you still have three pieces, and you can solve your cube without having to worry that they're parities. They look like parities because of the reduction method. Causes most of them, because we match up the edges. They match up the edges, and then solve it like a 3x3, which to me just seems to be two different solves. You solve it to look like a 3x3, and then you solve the 3x3 to look solved. And whereas I just find a piece and move it in the direction it needs to be, and find another piece and move it in the direction, and they pair themselves up. And because I'm handling them separately, I don't get emotionally attached to them being side by side, and find it difficult to break them up. So these each have two parities, and the reason why I wanted to demonstrate that is because if you have a parity, I made a parity. The parity that I was working on that looks like is the two corners. A corner can only land on a corner, so if there's only two corners, you can't substitute it. The third piece can't be an edge piece. So here I took this cube and I moved it so that two corners, all of the corners are correct except for two corners. These two corners. This is a corner parity. But on a 3x3, if you have a corner parity, you must also have an edge parity. You can't have, and if you have an edge parity, you must also have either another edge parity or a corner parity. You cannot have just one parity on a 3x3x3 cube, because the center, let me tell you why because. Okay, a parity is a lie. The parity lie is that, I lined up at this. All right, let's treat. Okay, let's pretend my edges are done, and let's wonder, because they're not. This edge needs to be here, and this corner needs to be here, this corner needs to be there. But if we pretend the corners are done, we can see that we have an edge parity. Now, how do we do this? How do we undo this edge parity? This piece wants to be here, and this piece wants to be here. The reason why it looks like a parity is because there's a piece that you're not seeing. If you only see two pieces, the third piece that you don't see is the piece that you don't see, which, well, in this case would be the corners. Let's pretend it's not the corners. In this piece, the piece that you don't see is the center piece. So if that center piece is a quarter turn off, if I make that quarter turn, the parity disappears. Okay, for example, this one wants to be here, this one wants to be here. So if I make a quarter turn, then this piece is now correct, and these three are not, and these are the three pieces that I'm going to place. I'm ignoring the centers, because the centers, it looked correct, but they weren't, or there wouldn't have been a parity. So it doesn't matter whether I turn that column to the left or to the right, because either way, one piece will be correct and three will be wrong. So if I'm going to treat these two parities separate from each other, and I'm going to fix this parity by making a quarter turn. Okay, now I'm ignoring the centers. I'm going to go ahead and displacing these pieces to the top so I can place them correctly. So there. Okay, so that put this piece here, and this piece where I can work on them. Red is now my top. Okay, I turn the cube so the corners match the front. It's going in this direction, so my two columns are where it's going to land and where it came up. away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. Okay, that gives me this piece to work on. This piece to work on, sorry. So blue goes to the white side. Okay. Yellow goes to the green. Okay. And that parity went away, and this is the other parity that I had. Okay, so I solved that one parity by moving my pieces a quarter turn, which displaced these. But now the second parity is also displaced by 1/4 turn, and it's the quarter turn can be any piece that has the parity. So so that's the layer that is one in from the corners. That's the layer that has the parity. And so I can, I can fix this parity by making a quarter turn and doing it. It just so happens that if I undo this quarter turn that I just did, that will fix this parity as well. So let's displace that piece. And let's put this piece. Okay, we're placing red. Okay, put this piece here. Okay. Put this piece. Line the corners up. Put this piece here. Reset the cube and keep going. So now my red is correct, and I still have 3 corners that are incorrect, and so I keep solving those. Bring the corners to match the front, put it in its direction using formula B. Bring the corners to match the front, toss it in its direction by moving away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down, and those corners are now placed. So 1/4 turn undoes a parity because the parity just vanishes. If you have 2, but the cube will let you have parities on a 4x4 because on a 3x3 you can't see them. All right, so here's another one. This has 2 parities. If I displace the center column, either one of those parities will resolve itself. But the other one, then I'll have a different parity of the centers not being correct. So if you have a corner parity, the corner parity being either that the adjacent corners need to flip, or that the opposite diagonal corners need to flip. Either way, on a 3x3, it's going to give you a parity. And the thing is that gives you that same parity on the 4x4, but you can't see it. You can work around it by turning the individual things. So if you have a corner parity, you will always get an edge parity as well on the 3x3. When you go to a larger cube, you don't see that. Now let me demonstrate this. I got all my cubes, because this is exciting for me. So I got all my cubes and I gave them all a corner parity. I gave them all the same corner parity. I gave them all the corner parity of the green and the white corner. 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. I can count. I can ordinate. All right. These all have the same corner parity, and they are all assembled correctly. I did not change any of them, and they all have, yeah, on the 2x2, you can't really see that it's a parity because you already know that if two of them are wrong, you can, if you make 1/4 turn, then one is correct and 3 are incorrect. You might have a different algorithm for solving that, but this is resolved by 1/4 turn and then resolving the corners, because you can't, the cubes themselves can't really dictate where they're placed. If you place them incorrectly, like I placed these pieces incorrectly, then you're going to have to rotate. And this twist, this slice, rotating this one slice doesn't look like a big thing on this one. But when I put it on a 3x3, it forces forces a parity. This parity right here on the edges was caused by this corner parity. Now on a 4x4, these corner edges, you don't see the parity, because a parity on a 4x4 can be resolved on its own. They're not interdependent. So we know how to solve a 4x4, but a 5x5, this same corner parity again gave me an edge parity, the absolute edge parity. Now the only way to get this parity on with all of the corners correct is if the center's incorrect. With my void cube, I've got a void cube here somewhere. When you can't see what the center is, then you can get a parity on the void cube, but it's always because the center is a 1/4 turn off. So on an even number of cube, that parity can be made invisible, can be undone because it's a false parity. And when on an odd number cube, if the cube's assembled correctly, any corner parity is going to result in a also simultaneous edge parity for the center edge. So that was fun, and it works the same no matter how big it is. A corner parity on an even number of cube can appear solved, and any parity on an odd number cube, any corner parity on an odd number cube is going to give you an edge parity as well. And so that was fun for me. Excuse me, I need some water. So that was a long way of saying that a parity that the kind that you're going to encounter, I mean these ones are forced parities, but the parities that you're going to encounter on anything that is larger than a 3x3 is going to be caused by if it looks like there's two pieces out of place. Here's more examples. These two pieces, this one wants to be here, this one wants to be here, and I can't just flip that cube. If I treat this as one piece, then I can't fix it. I have to bisect that. I have to break that parity apart by making a 1/4 turn and then placing them individually at where they land. Here's these two parities also. So these two parities, each one of these was solved by a 1/4 turn. So if I do a 1/4 turn for this one and a 1/4 turn for that one, I end up with, it's an even number of rows. So I can just stay where it is, and I can fix these two parities by breaking them apart. So I'm not going to do that. But this just demonstrates the parities can look like different things. So if you have a parity, and let's pick this parity. Okay. By the way, let's go back to these ones. Not this one. Go away. Go back to these ones. If you try solving these by the reduction method, the even number cubes, if you try solving it with the reductions method, you're going to get a parity. You're going to get a parity that looks like these, like this one, because you're treating them as one piece when they're not. which is fine if you're trying to save time. But when you get to the last few pieces, the cube itself is going to tell you that just because it looks right doesn't mean it is. So, like I said, the only way to change these around is to break apart my edge pieces. If I try to solve this, let me try to solve this as a. I had a 6x6 too. Where's my 6x6? If I try to solve this with the reduction method, this parity is simply going to translate into a different parity. Well, a false parity. It's going to have these two pieces want to be these two pieces here, and these two pieces want to be these two pieces here. Which, again, two parities cancel each other out. An even number of parities is 0. An odd number of parities is 1. Any odd number. That was more mathematical than I intended it to be. So, did I bore you guys? Am I boring you guys? Say hello to me. Or continue getting ready for your day. Don't let me distract you. Alright, so I was also going to work on my 3x9 today, which I'm not going to do. Okay. My oblique, okay, there we go. I bought these to help me with teaching, online or in person. I've got a 3x3 and a 4x4, and they're blank so that I can just do the motions that the people in my Zoom need to follow without them getting confused by the colors of my cube being different from their colors. And then I also bought some post-it notes. Novelty item for the day. That's what my brain farted on. Got these post-it notes. Don't you love packaging? All right. You get these post-it notes out. Being rainbow, they're almost the color of the cube. I mean, not all of the colors of the cube, but I can take my yellow. I can take that one. Hi, kitty. What you doing? Okay, so I have yellow. I have orange. I have yellow and red. I have orange and red. I have got blue and green. Is that blue? Is this a better blue? Blue and green. And I don't have a white, but I can use my purple as substitute white or substitute black, depending on which cube you have. So I can take my stickers here, my post-it notes, and I can be working on someone, and they can have a cube here, and I can see that this cube is red. So I can say, okay, I'm going to take my red, I'm going to take a red, and make that cube is now red. And this cube for you is this color. I'm going to make my cube look like yours. I can do that with my post-it notes and my blank cubes. So that way I can teach people on Zoom, and instead of I can show what the motion is, and they can just follow my hands. Instead of, in my hand, my colors will either be blank or will match theirs, so that they're not confused. So I bought these as a teaching tool when I incorporate Zoom into my Twitch. So that's my novelty item for the day, is I am being creative and planning ahead. Okay, that's it for me today. I'm gonna go now. I gotta go fix all my cubes, and tomorrow I will be back for solving the centers in my walkthrough, and I will also be working on my 3x9 to demonstrate how A and B can solve this cube. There's no parities you need to learn. A and B by themselves can solve this cube. B is going to have one minor adaptation. Instead of, for example, instead of being the top row being turned a quarter turn, which means that I can't move my my other pieces. Each B is going to be one, instead of being left and right, is going to be 2 and 2. And then my up and down will do its thing, and this cube will be solved as well. So, A and B, all you need to solve every cube, and check me out, give me feedback, tell me what you think, and bring me your non-cuber friends, the ones that just want to know the secret. I'd be happy to teach them. That is literally the funnest thing that I can do. I love watching someone who thinks they can't do it, watch how it falls into place, and they did it. Because I don't actually teach the cube. I teach confidence. I take people who think, oh, I couldn't do that. I couldn't possibly do that. You're a genius. We're just not built the same. I can't do that. You can do that, and more power to you. And it's just fun to watch you. But no, I can't do that. To take those people who say, oh no, and then put the cube in their hands and show them that there is nothing. It's a simple. There's nothing easier. There's nothing easier. You follow the pattern, and it solves itself, because the cube has to be true to itself. So that is fun for me. Bring me your non-cuber friends, or help me demonstrate on your own. I'm planning on beginning to do those on Friday evenings and Saturday mornings. Also on the weekend, I show you more fun stuff, like the beginner, the steps along the way that I took to begin this process, to meet these process. For example, I gotta show these. I found these the other day. This was the beginning of one version of my book. I'm like, okay, you've got, for example, this shows that the first 2 layers are done, and we're ignoring the grayed out ones we don't care about, or the grayed out ones we don't know what they are. But we're going to go from having the first 2 layers to having the first 2 layers and these edges. Well, that's not the way I went to, but this is how I started mapping out, because I'm visual. I'm more visual. Like, seeing a string of letters does not compute in my head. The algorithms, I can read them and do them one at a time, but I can't look at an algorithm and see what it's going to do. So I broke the algorithms down. Here I have 3. I have 3 arrows instead of 2, one arrow for each row that I was working on, which I realized as soon as I was working on a 4x4 or larger, that was just confusing, and I couldn't have multiple arrows and have make people count the arrows. So when you're working on a big cube like this, there's just 2 arrows, 2 lines each time. And the cube itself dictates what, if I wanted to move this edge piece, for example, this would be my second column up. The first column up would be wherever I want to send it. If I want to send it in this direction, this would be my first column up, and the second column up. If I want to send it in this direction, this would be my first column up. This is my second column up. But either way, slide the top, first up, reverse the top, second up, slide the top again, first down, slide the top again, second down. So it's up, up, down, down, with a slide in between. And that was a whole bunch of nothing. A whole bunch of, that was eclectic. That was an eclectic session I did today. Just somehow I got here. Boy, these are... Back when I was working with the cross first, and then I began there. I began with the cross just like all of you all did. But, so... just proof of the effort that went into the creation of the method. So that's it for me. I'm signing off. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will be back here again tomorrow. So bye.